Hello, my name is Tarek. I live in Istanbul. The story I will tell you happened to me 2 years ago. I went through a big test. I hope you will learn some lessons after listening. As I said, I live in Istanbul. I lost my father at an early age. After he passed away, my mother took over the business. She was both managing the business and raising me. I owe a lot to her, God bless her. We are originally from Tokat. My mother and father loved each other, but their families did not approve of this union. So they fled to Istanbul, where they secretly got married. They never returned to their village or met their families. I was born in the 5th year of their marriage. 11 years later, we'd lost my father. Those were very difficult years for me. We were financially very well off, but I was left without a father. After finishing school, I started working in a bank. My mother had retired. She used to go to the workplace from time to time and check the work. Whenever I brought up the past or the village, my mother would always bring up another subject and not want to talk about it. I thought she was remembering my father or was upset because she thought of her family. This went on like this for years. One day we were having tea with friends during the lunch break when my phone rang. The person on the phone said, "I would like to speak to Mr. Tarek." I said, "Here you go. I'm listening." Suddenly he said, "Son, how are you? Are you okay? I am Headman Recep from your village. I was a very close friend of your father. How is your father? How is your mother? Are they well?" I was very surprised by this conversation. I was meeting someone from the village for the first time. I was stunned. I could only say, "I'm fine. How are you?" "Thank you, nephew. I am fine too." "Tariq, nephew, do you know why I bothered you? I need to reach your mom and dad. There are some problems. Your grandfather passed away a few years ago. I don't know, do you know? There's some land you inherited. It's about to be expropriated. I think there will be a dam project, so you need to come." I said, "I don't know, Mr. Recep." By the way, my father passed away. I said, "Come on, nephew. I'm so sorry. I loved your father like a brother. We had many good memories together. I'm sorry for your loss. May God give you a long life. How is your mom? Is she alive?" he said. "Yes, Mr. Recep. Thank God she is alive. We both live together." I said, "Okay then. Take your mom with you. We need to sort these things out, nephew. Say hello very much. I'm waiting to hear from you." And he hung up the phone. My friends asked me, "Tarek, what's wrong? Did you get bad news?" Or something like that. "No," I said, and explained the situation. Some of them said, "Is it a dam? Inheritance? Brother, congratulations, you'll see us now." And so on. In the evening, I went home. My mom had prepared dinner. "Mom, guess who called me today?" I said. "How should I know, son?" she said. When I said, "Headman Recep," she held the spoon full of soup in the air for a moment and said, "Recep is the headman?" with a puzzled expression. "Yes," I said. "We were having tea with friends during the lunch break. My phone rang." I told her what happened. My mother's face turned white. She was listening to me so confused. When I finished, she asked me, "Well, how did he find your phone? How did he find you?" "I don't know, Mom. Maybe he got it from the land registry or something. Anyway, my friends were making fun of me all day long as the owner of the dam, the owner of the inheritance, and so on." My mother said in a fierce voice, "He can have his dam and his inheritance. Don't answer if he calls again." Her voice was very fearful and agitated. I couldn't understand why. Maybe it was because my father's family didn't want him, I thought. Look at me, Tarek. Don't bring up this subject again. I don't want anything from there. Please, let's not talk about it again, she said, and we continued our meal. After a while, my mother got up from the table and went to bed early. I watched a film or something at night. While I was watching the TV, a noise came from the street. I got up, opened the window, and looked down. There was someone under the street lamp. His back was turned. While I was looking at him, he suddenly turned his face to me. I said, "Oh my God!" That was my dad. But how could this be? He opened his arms and said, "Come to me." I ran downstairs. He was waiting for me. I ran and hugged him, and he hugged me back. I was so happy, I hugged and cried without saying a word. My father was crying too. After standing like that for a few minutes, I pulled myself back and looked at his face. He looked at me too. He wiped my tears with his hands. I was surprised, happy, sad. When I was in such mixed feelings, he said to me, "How are you, son?" I said, "How did you get here, Dad? How did this happen?" He said, "I'm here, son. What does it matter? If you want, I will always be with you." I said, "I want to, Dad. Don't go anymore." He said, "Look, son, if you want me to be with you, go to our village and do what Uncle Recep says." "Well, Dad, what does Uncle Recep want? Why did he call me? My mom doesn't want me to go," he said. "Your mom is worried about you, son. She is afraid that your uncle's children will do something to you. Don't listen to her. Go secretly, do what Uncle Recep says, then we will be together forever." I woke up suddenly. I was sweating blood. What kind of a dream was this? Was it a messenger dream or a nightmare? I was going to go to the kitchen to drink water. The door to my mother's room was open. I heard her voice as I passed by. She was reading the Quran in her room. I went and drank my water. I was still confused. What was I supposed to do? I wanted to leave, but what was I going to tell my mom? He opened his arms and said, "Come to me." I ran downstairs. He was waiting for me. I ran and hugged him, and he hugged me back. I was so happy, I hugged and cried without saying a word. My father was crying too. After standing like that for a few minutes, I pulled myself back and looked at his face. He looked at me too. He wiped my tears with his hands. I was surprised, happy, sad. When I was in such mixed feelings, he said to me, "How are you, son?" I said, "How did you get here, Dad? How did this happen?" He said, "I'm here, son. What does it matter? If you want, I will always be with you." I said, "I want to, Dad. Don't go anymore." He said, "Look, son, if you want me to be with you, go to our village and do what Uncle Recep says." "Well, Dad, what does Uncle Recep want? Why did he call me? My mom doesn't want me to go," he said. "Your mom is worried about you, son. She is afraid that your uncle's children will do something to you. Don't listen to her. Go secretly, do what Uncle Recep says, then we will be together forever." I woke up suddenly. I was sweating blood. What kind of a dream was this? Was it a messenger dream or a nightmare? I was going to go to the kitchen to drink water. The door to my mother's room was open. I heard her voice as I passed by. She was reading the Quran in her room. I went and drank my water. I was still confused. What was I supposed to do? I wanted to leave, but what was I going to tell my mom? But Mr. Recep, I couldn't tell my mother that I was coming. She doesn't like the idea. I want to come and look at the situation. I want to leave the signature and so on for the next time I come. I said, okay, son, whatever you want. Come, see, look once. Don't worry, no one from us will see you coming. I said, okay, then I'll buy my ticket. I'll take leave for Monday. I think 3 days is enough. He said, don't buy any ticket. My ticket is on me. I said, no, please. You're welcome. I'll take care of it. Okay, nephew, whatever you want. I am waiting to hear from you. You buy your ticket. Tell me the day you are coming. I will pick you up from the bus station. After saying goodbye, we said goodbye and hung up the phone. I felt strange inside. Part of me wanted to go. I was curious about those places, and part of me felt remorse for doing such a thing secretly from my mother. But what was I going to tell my mother? At dinner in the evening, I told her that the workplace was going to organize a training program and that we were going to Sapanca. My mother looked at me with a skeptical look. Then she said, as you know, my son, Godspeed, and retired to her room after dinner. At night, I heard her reciting the Quran again. On Friday, I put my clothes in my backpack and went to work. In the evening, after work, I got on the bus and set off. Luckily, the seat next to me was empty. I fell asleep on the bus. Then someone sat next to me. Normally, this seat would be empty. That's what the bus driver said when I asked him. I thought, oh my God, I probably thought that someone bought a ticket later. I looked at him out of the corner of my eye. He was a bit imposing. When I raised my head and looked at his face, he also turned his face to me. At that moment, I felt like I was going out of my mind. A creature with crimson eyes, pointed ears, and a body like a snakeskin was sitting next to me in human form. It turned to me and grinned slyly with its filthy teeth. I woke up with a start. No one was there. My heart was beating like crazy. I took my water out of my backpack and drank it. I was still shaking. I thought, what the hell was that? It was a very realistic dream. I couldn't sleep again until I reached my destination. I asked the deputy to let me know when we approached the bus station. Abi, we have half an hour and 45 minutes, he said. I called the headman and told him I was getting closer. Okay, I'm on my way, he said. We arrived at the bus station around noon. I took my backpack and got off the bus. A middle-aged man in a cap approached me and asked, Tariq? I turned to him and said, yes. Are you Mr. Recep? He pulled me to him and hugged me tightly, saying, welcome, my nephew. How are you? Are you okay? How was your journey? He said. Thank you, Mr. Recep, I'm fine. My journey was fine, I said. Oh, stop saying Mr. I am your Uncle Recep. Your father and I were very close friends. We were like brothers. I will tell you everything. Then he started looking around. Come, let's get in the car. This is a small place. They will get the news that you have arrived. We walked to his car together. He opened the doors. Just as I was getting in, I looked around. A man was watching us from the corner of another bus. I got in the car. I was following the man with my eyes. He looked at us without taking his eyes off us, and we drove away from there. When the headman asked what I was looking at, I said, I was just looking around. After half an hour of traveling, we came to a beautiful green village. We quickly passed through the village so that no one would see me and went to the plateau. The headman had a house on the plateau. We were going to spend some time here and then go down to the village at dusk. The headman had brought some snacks with him. He lit the stove and prepared something to eat. We ate them. These were very beautiful places. Uncle Headman started to tell us, "Look, nephew, your father and I were childhood friends. We ate and drank together. Your father was in love with your mother. There was a long-standing feud between your two families. Your father loved your enemy's daughter. He had a hard time. When your father said to your grandfather, 'Dad, buy this girl for me, and the feud between the two families will be over,' your grandfather kicked him out of the house. She stayed with us for some time. We planned what to do at home. No matter how much I told him to give up this love, he didn't listen to me. They took your mom and ran away from here. We couldn't find any trace of her again. We had very good plans with your father. We had prepared a business for the future, but he took your mother and disappeared. To tell the truth, I am very offended at him, but you can't talk like that behind the dead. I wish he had given me some news. What did he do?" "I always wondered," he said. "How did you find me, Uncle Recep?" I asked. "God did not give me a son. I have my brother's son. He solves everything for me. He found you on the internet. He was writing down the bank you worked at. We found your phone number from here and there." "Well, what are we going to do now, Uncle? What exactly is the reason you brought me here?" I said. "When your father's father, your grandfather, died, your uncles planted and cultivated the fields. Now, those fields will be under the dam. Your uncles won't be able to sell them without your signature, and maybe there will be a big problem if they see you. I found you for the sake of our old days with your father, and I want to solve this matter without anything happening to you, my nephew." I was saying in my heart, what a good man. Even though he was offended by my father, his action was very good. The headman said, "Come on, it is getting dark. We can only go down to the village." We left the house. We were slowly coming down from the plateau, and he was telling me about the surroundings. He was a very decent man. We stopped in front of a house near the square of the village. We got out of the car and quickly entered the house. "I sent your sister-in-law to her mother in the next village. Now she will tell the neighbors that you have come. Let's not get into trouble for no reason," he said. "Rest now, nephew. Tomorrow we will secretly go to where the land is. I will show you around. On Monday, let's do the transfer work at the state office. You sign your signature, get your money, return to the city, and I will take care of the rest." He took me into a room. He showed me where to sleep and said, "Come on, see you in the morning. May God give you peace," and left. I opened my bag, took out my clothes, changed my clothes, and went to bed. At night, I heard some noises and woke up. When I looked out of the window, I saw a black dog looking at our house and barking. As I was looking at it, the dog suddenly got up on both feet and started walking towards me. What the hell was that? I was going backwards, but I could see him through the window. Then he turned into a humanoid, a hunchbacked, ugly creature. I was scared to death. I could see its teeth, just like in the nightmare I saw on the bus. It was grinning dirty. Suddenly, I jumped out of bed. What was happening to me? I didn't understand what kind of nightmares these were. I was so sweaty. I wanted to open the window and get some air. When I looked outside, there was a black dog on the corner of the street, and it was looking at me. Was I having a dream within a dream? I said, God, help me. And the dog ran into the opposite street and ran away. I went back to bed and recited the prayers I knew, and soon I fell asleep. The headman was snoring so loudly that I woke up early in the morning to the sound of his voice. I wanted to go to the mosque to pray because of the dreams I had had during the night, but how could I do it? If the headman saw me going out, he might get angry, but I also wanted to go and pray. I left the house, thinking that if someone asked, I would make something up. I performed ablution in the mosque's fountain. When I entered the mosque, I felt a sense of peace. A few people were lined up for prayer. After the prayer, I sat on the side to pray a little. I did not attract anyone's attention. People came out of the mosque after the prayer. The imam was praying on the sidelines. After a while, he put his hands on his face and looked at me. We locked eyes for a moment, and I remembered that I had seen this old man somewhere before. Yes, it was the man who was looking after us at the bus station. I kept my composure and looked away, but he recognized me. He came up to me. He said, "Assalamu alaikum, son." I rubbed my hands on my face, finished my prayer, and said, "Wa alaikum salam, Imam Effendi. My name is Yahya, son. Who are you? Who are you from?" he said. At that moment, I thought of the dam. "I work at the dam, Imam Abi." "My name is Salih," I said. He said, "Imam, what do I care? Is the dam going to be built here?" I was surprised how he didn't know about it, but without showing it, I said, "Yes, it will start soon." "Are you sure, son?" "These are not very suitable places to build dams. The geographical position of this place is not very suitable. There is only one plain here, and there are fields and villages." "The fields are fine, but how will the village be moved?" he said. I couldn't say anything at that moment. The imam looked at me and said, "I saw you with the headman at the bus station the other day. You got off the bus, and the headman picked you up." I did not know what to say. "Tell me, son, who are you? And look, this is the house of Allah. There can be no lies here." When he said that, I felt a sense of guilt. He was telling the truth. There was no point in dragging it out. I said, "Imam Abi, my name is Tariq," and told him the story from beginning to end. The imam listened to me until the end without interrupting me, and finally said, "Are you serious, son? I have never heard of such a project. I mean, maybe it is secret, but this is a village. It would definitely be heard." I told him that it would not be good for me to stay here any longer, that I had to go home, and I left. When I got home, the head man was coming out of the toilet. He was stunned when he saw me because he thought I was asleep. "What are you doing out? Someone will see you. Why did you come out?" And so on. When he said, "Why did you come out?" I said, "I went to the mosque, but it was crowded." "I went to the mosque, but it was crowded. I came back without being seen." The headman's stern face started to smile, and he said, "I'm talking about you, nephew. If one of the relatives sees you now, our whole plan will be spoiled, right? Anyway, let's have breakfast." After eating something in the kitchen, we went to the lounge. We lingered at home for a few hours, talking left and right. The headman was constantly playing with his mobile phone. I think he was calling somewhere, but the other person wasn't answering. At some point, he got angry, got up and left. At that time, my phone rang too. It was my mom. What was I going to say now? Anyway, I said, "Yes, Mom." "What did you do, son? Did you leave? You never called." She said, "You're right, Mom. Sorry. We're here. We are in the forest. There's not much reception here, but I'm fine," I said. "Oh, my son, be careful out there. Keep your prayers on your tongue," he said. And then we said goodbye and hung up. While I was talking to my mother, I was looking at the street from behind the curtain. The imam was looking at the house as he passed by the door. "What a nosy bloke," I said. Then I sat on the sofa. I was playing with the phone when the doorbell rang. The headman entered the room and said, "Don't be afraid, nephew. I was waiting for someone. He has come," and went to the door. I still had to be careful. I got ready to hide behind the door. The headman opened the door and said, "Come, Ibrahim, come. Tariq is here." When I told him my name, he said, "This is Tariq." When he said my name, I thought that this person knew that I was coming and started to wait. A man entered the room with the headman. He extended his hand to me and said, "Welcome." I didn't like the look of the man at all. He was a man with a bad look. "Welcome," I said. The headman said, "Look, Tariq's son, this friend's name is Ibrahim. He knows our neighborhood very well. He knows who owns land and fields. He knows better than me. He will take us. We will look at the places we talked about. Let's go out," he said. The headman pulled the car zero to the door of the house, and I got in secretly without anyone seeing. I lay down on the back seat. After traveling for a while, headman said, "Get up, son." The man called Ibrahim was telling the headman, "Look, this place belongs to Nevzat. This place belongs to Ismail," and so on. We came to a field up ahead. He stopped the car. We got out. They showed me a tree up ahead. That's as far as our land goes. They showed me many other places. The dam will come from here. The water will fill up like this. And so on. But I didn't think there would be a dam here. I couldn't understand what they were trying to do. They kept looking at the clock. It was about to get dark. "Nephew, we want to look at some places. Do you mind?" he said. "No, Uncle. You go about your business. I'm fine," I said. They went to a few fields, looked around, and talked about something among themselves. I was bored. I was picking up stones from the ground and throwing them ahead. It was getting dark. "Come on, let's get in the car. There's only one place left," he said. We got in the car. They kept looking at each other out of the corner of their eyes. The headman's phone rang. "Wait, we'll be there in 10 minutes, he said to someone on the phone. Then he turned to me and said, "The owner of the place we are going to. If we make a deal, Ibrahim will buy it for himself." After a while, someone was waiting for us. We stopped. He got in the car and said, "Hello." He was a strange man. He had a bald head, coal-rimmed eyes, rings on all his fingers, and a long beard. And he smelled very bad. As he got in, he put his bag on the seat. There was a rattling sound coming from inside, as if there was something like glass and metal. The headman said, "Look, Tariq's son, this friend's name is Leto." "Nice to meet you," I said. He looked at me and lowered his head up and down. "His real name is Levant or something like that, but I guess this is an abbreviation," I said to myself. Headman was constantly looking at his watch and pressing the accelerator. We were traveling fast through the potholes. My insides were out of me. We came in front of a cave-like rock near the hills. They opened the doors. "Let's get out," they said. I said, "I don't want to go with you, Uncle. I'll be here." "No, nephew, you come too. We came here for you. We have a surprise for you," he said. And at that moment, the man called Ibrahim started laughing in a thin voice. Leto took his bag and went downstairs. The headman said, "Come, nephew, take a look at the entrance of the cave," and took me by the arm and turned me in that direction. Then someone hit my head very hard from behind. At that moment, I fell to the ground. Someone behind me sat on my back and started to tie my hands behind my back. The man called Leto stood in front of me, raised his arms towards the cave, and started shouting in a language I did not know. I couldn't see what was going on because it was getting dark, but I think it was Ibrahim sitting on my back. "Uncle Headman, what's going on? What are you doing?" When I asked, the headman said, "Stop it. Don't start with your uncle now, you prick. Enough of what we have suffered for years because of your father. It will all end here tonight," he said. "What are you saying, Uncle Headman? I don't understand anything," I said. I was trying to turn my face left and right, forcing myself to get up, but the man called Ibrahim was sitting on my back so that I wouldn't run away. The man they called Leto was getting closer to the door of the cave, saying something to himself with his hands in the air. The headman continued his words. "Look, Tariq Effendi, listen. Now, since you are curious, it is your right to hear these things in your last moments." I was struggling. "What last moments? Let me go," he said. "You know that father of yours, that father of yours. You know your father with the money, who made you live in pleasure for years. He ran away from here with our money," he said. I said, "What money, Headman? What nonsense are you talking? Your father and I had been looking for buried treasure since we were little, and finally we found it in a field. Your father and I made plans that night. We were going to leave here, start a business in the big city, and become even richer. But what did your father do? He ran away with your mom, and he took our gold with him," he said. "Because the treasure we found was talismanic, your father found a teacher and protected himself. But I was haunted for years. I couldn't have children. My business didn't go well. My wife died. Then I remarried. One day, we found Leto Effendi. He discovered there was more to the burial we found. He made a deal with the jinns. They wanted a sacrifice for the first gold we took to get the rest of the treasure. I thought of your father, but he was dead. I found you in the records and called you here. You came like a fool. Tonight, I'll get my gold too," he said. "Oh my God, what a trap I have fallen into," I was muttering to myself. "They called me here to sacrifice the jinns. What am I going to do now?" At that moment, there was a movement inside the cave. Something was coming towards the exit. I couldn't see what was happening because it was dark. My movements were already limited because of Ibrahim sitting on my back. Leto lowered his arms and leaned forward as if greeting those coming from the cave. The headman said to Ibrahim, "Look, here they are. Don't look them in the eye," he said. I was looking at the people coming from the cave in fear. Leto got down on his knees and showed them me with his finger. I could not make out their exact shapes in the darkness. They began to approach me as if they were floating in the air. There were 3 of them. 2 stayed by the door of the cave. The other came towards me. His face was very scary. It was the one sitting next to me on the bus. The creature, with red eyes, pointed ears, and a body like a snake's skin, bent down, looked at my face, and grinned again with its filthy teeth. His mouth stank so much that when I tried to turn my head the other way, Ibrahim wouldn't let me. My mother's words came to my mind the last time we talked. "Don't skimp on prayer," she said. I immediately began to recite the surahs of Falaq and Nas aloud. The creature and the others were moving like crazy. Leto turned to Ibrahim and shouted, "Shut his mouth!" Ibrahim immediately covered my mouth. I couldn't breathe. I was struggling. Leto said to Ibrahim, "Slow down. Don't let him die. The ritual will be broken. Be careful," Leto said to Ibrahim. I was like a sacrificial lamb in their hands. I kept asking myself, my God, what was I in for? The jinns were looking at us from the mouth of the cave, not coming near us. Leto, with some foreign words he was reading, opened the bag he had brought with him and took out a fancy knife. The headman was giggling. Soon I would be sacrificed, and the jinns would give him the gold. At that moment, Headman realized I was looking at him and said, "Don't be angry with me, nephew. I'm only taking what belongs to me, just like your father took from me once. Mine was a bit bloody, I'm sorry." And Ibrahim and the two of them started laughing. Leto kept saying something in a foreign language, putting the knife to my throat and pulling it. Finally, he started shouting something. At that moment, the jinns in the cave did something like rejoicing, and we had come to the end. Just as I was saying, "Mummy, forgive me," a prayer started to be recited from somewhere deep inside. Leto was about to make the last stroke to cut my throat when he turned round and looked over there. There was someone in the darkness. The jinns in the cave, who had been joyfully waiting for me to die a moment ago, were now acting as if they were crazy, running left and right. The jinns were very angry. In the meantime, I started to recite prayers aloud. Ibrahim was trying to cover my mouth, but he could not. I was constantly moving my head from side to side and missing my mouth. The jinns became very angry, and their eyes turned red. Suddenly, with very fast movements, the jinns grabbed Headman, Ibrahim, and Leto and entered the cave. All three of them were screaming in pain from inside the cave. After a while, the sounds went away and stopped completely. I was lying motionless on the ground, continuing to pray, when someone came up to me and said, "Son, get up." He untied my hands behind my back. It was Imam Yahya Effendi. I slowly got up from the ground, and he hugged me. I was still in shock of what had happened. Yahya Effendi shook me off. What had I been through? "Imam, brother, how did you find me here?" I said. "I followed you, son. I never trusted this headman. I realized he was up to something. His bringing you here and lying about the dam really bothered me. When I saw that you came here with good intentions, I couldn't resist and followed you. These are not the safest places. Villagers don't come here much. They don't speak well of this cave. Come on, let's go back to the village," he said. We returned to the village on the headman's motorbike. I was about to faint from exhaustion. We went to his house. "You are safe now, son. They got what they deserved," he told me. We talked about what happened that night, and he told me that my prayer had kept them away from me. The next day, he took me to the bus station and saw me off. When I returned home, I was still exhausted. My mother immediately realized that something was wrong with me.